actually, when I'm having that type of irrational thinking and I'm in that type of place where like that's just what's coming to me and that's what I'm believing is true, it's actually not very helpful for someone to come in right away and say, no, you're just going through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff. Like, that doesn't mean shit when I feel like I'm not pretty enough to be friends with these people. Give me something real. Test. Hello, lovers and haters. Welcome back. This is not for everyone. I'm your lover, Jess, and today's a love letter episode. It's just me today because it is. I don't know what to tell you. Caroline did a solo episode last week. I'm doing one this week. Next week, we're back to our dating series, Hot Not Bothered. But right now, it's just you and me. I have a gravelly throat, and I'm hoping that it's more sensual than it is annoying. There's really no good reason for it. I don't know. I have allergies. You guys know. You guys know me. I forget that my life is documented weekly for the last 2.5 years. Somebody is running the studies and the data analysis on how frequently I sound like this. And to that person, please let me know what's wrong with me because I get sick all the time. I'm fine. I actually don't feel sick at all. I just have this voice and here we are, and I had to address it. Another thing to address right out the gate is that I'm a different person from the last time we spoke. I spoke to you. We speak. I feel like I hear you in my head. I'm a different person because I read a book. Okay, kooks? I read an entire book from the beginning to the end. For the first time since 2019, I realized that's 6 years. I think to the day, like it was summer of that year. The last time I read a book. That book that I read then was Bad Blood, about the Elizabeth Holmes Theranos story. I've consumed all the content that there is about that podcast, TV show, this book. The book is great. Anyway, that's what I read 6 years ago. Then I stopped reading, reconnected with who I really am, which is not historically a person that reads. I try to destigmatize the non-reading life for those of us who just don't. I feel like I've felt very less than as a person that doesn't read, even though I know I'm smart and I know I get information from places and I know I have like a broad and expansive and open-minded worldview. And it just happens to not occur from reading. And I've really tried to destigmatize that for my fellow people. But turns out reading is actually kind of cool. It was my birthday last week. That's why I took the week off. And Ryan got me a Kindle. I had a hypothesis that a Kindle would transform my relationship to reading because it's a screen. And we all know I like a screen. And I was right. The Kindle changed everything. I read a book in 5 days. Immediately, he gave it to me. I got a book on Libby, the app from my library. The book was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I read it and I finished it and it was a good time. It wasn't the best book I've ever read. Like, I would give it a 4 out of 5, maybe even a 3.5 out of 5. I'm sorry. I know that's contentious. It was highly recommended. It was like one of the most recommended books, period. And I'm glad I read it. And it was a good, easy read. I just felt it was very predictable. Okay. Yes. Me, the non-reader, coming before you and saying that I know how books end. And maybe that's why I don't read, dogs. I literally knew what was coming the whole time. It was still good. It just like I wanted more shock and surprise and like I wanted to be confused. I want to feel how I feel when I watch Severance while reading a book. Anyway, so now, if you can believe it, I've had my Kindle for 1 week and I'm already reading my second book. It's Dark Matter, which there's an Apple TV show about it, but I haven't seen the show. It's great. It's way more Severance vibes. It's like about a multiverse situation. Like there's kind of multiple universes that this person's life is going on in and he doesn't know what's the truth and he has to figure it out. Really good. That's my vibe. So if you have books that match what I'm describing, please send them to me at JZDeBakey on Instagram. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to update you that I'm reading now and I can no longer be a symbol of freedom for the non-readers. I broke. The Kindle is crazy. It's so good because, okay, this is not a hot take. Kindles have been on the market for like my whole life. But did anybody know that they tell you the percentage? The Kindle tracks your progress in your book and it tells you how far you are by percentage. So it'll say you're 20% of the way through this book. And something about that is incredibly motivating to me. The other thing that it does is it learns your reading speed, and then it estimates how long it'll take you to read the next chapter. So you'll get to the beginning of the chapter and it'll be like, 24 minutes to end of chapter. And then it'll say 70% of the way through the book. And seeing those two stats is very, very energizing to me. Like, I'm like, oh, I got 24 minutes. Sometimes I'm even like, I bet I could do it in 22, Kindle. Update my reading speed real fast. Watch me. I'm learning how to read in real time on this screen. Anyway, I don't know. The Kindle has really changed the game for me in terms of reading. Something about that is more motivating than like physically holding a thick book and seeing all the pages that I have to get through and being like, I could never do this. I can't do it. But one slim little screen that's tracking my progress and like encouraging me. Okay, I'm not going to talk about books the whole time. It's about to be over. But for anyone who has related to me about not being a reader, I have a hypothesis that a Kindle will change you. Anyway, so I'm a different person now since the last time we talked. Part of the reason that I was able to start reading is because I took a week off for my birthday. I took a week off of work, a week off of the podcast. I didn't go on a vacation. It was just a week to sit at home or just to do whatever I want in my city. It didn't matter. There were no pretenses. Did I use that phrase right? No pretenses. No pretenses means to be genuine and sincere without any attempt to deceive or hide one's true feelings or intentions. I guess. You get what I'm saying. There were no expectations. There were no pressures. It was just me and my time off. I went to the Botanic Garden and frolicked. I went to the planetarium and took a nap in like the sky show. And they just make it night in there. And like the AC is blasting. It's freaking humid everywhere you go now. So honestly, would recommend $15 show at the planetarium gets you an air-conditioned nap. The AC was broken at our place. Maybe that's an important distinction. I do have AC. It was just broken. That was an annoying thing that happened when I was trying to have no responsibilities. Even when I canceled work off my plate, I canceled podcasts off my plate, I canceled going anywhere. Like, I really made it so that this week could be a week of nothing for me. And still, the HVAC had to break and be like, hey, you're still a homeowner. You still are responsible for something. It's fixed now, but planetarium in the meantime. Yeah, and I took this week off and I just wanted to announce, along with my announcement about reading and how it's actually pretty nice and you just need a Kindle, I also believe that you need to take time off and just be in your home. There is no reason that you have to use your PTO from work for vacations. I feel like those two things have become synonymous and I hate it. I'm going to try now to always have like something on the calendar to look forward to that's just me at home. Even if it's just one day, even if it's just a Friday off, you don't have to have a reason. I know that there's limited PTO, but if you are able to have like something to look forward to on the calendar at any given time, that's just me at home, not doing anything while my coworkers are working. It's very important that your coworkers still be working. You cannot have adequate time off if everybody's off. So if it's a holiday, that's not, please enjoy, but that's not going to get you what you need. You need business as usual to be happening, and then you need to be on your couch in your underwear reading on your Kindle. Can you believe what I'm saying right now? I'm so changed and different. So that's what I did for my birthday, and those are my 2 new life hacks of just like how to find peace or something. Okay, let me talk about things that listeners submitted. Enough about me. I posted on our Instagram, not the number 4 everyone pod. I posted and said that I'm going to do this episode and I wanted your recent complaints. Anything that's just freaking annoying you recently, I wanted to hear about it. I got a few good ones. Good uns. Quick heads up from editing Jess. The first topic that I talk about here is all about weight loss, the pressure to be thin, the new like skinny talk trend and content online. If that's something that you don't have the capacity for today, then please skip ahead. You can go to this timestamp, 21:55. I get to a bunch of different topics in the rest of the episode. I talk about friendships, negative friends, and dealing with their incessant, exhausting commentary. Talk about just making friends in general and when insecurities come up through that process. Talk about assumptions. I talk about laboo-boos. So just skip ahead if you need to. Somebody just wrote, pressure to lose weight for wedding. Okay. Obviously, as a person who's not had a wedding, like I can't fully embody this question, this comment, whatever, this complaint. But I have an entire life of feeling pressure to lose weight, period. I'm sure whenever my wedding comes, I will struggle with those types of thoughts. And this really stood out to me. It's something I wanted to talk about because right now online, there's so much dialogue about weight loss again. I feel like maybe during COVID times, the past 5 years, pretty much, I would say like from the last time I read a book in 2019 to, I guess, around now, that whole 5-year period, it felt like we were making progress on body acceptance, body positivity, body neutrality, whatever you call it, just like letting people have their bodies, not only showing one body type in media. I feel like there was progress, and it's not that all the progress has gone away. But I do think with the emergence of weight loss drugs, and I'll even say it like a political climate that centers different values, I think we are shifting again towards skinny is the way, skinny is better, skinny, like a morality, like skinny is good. You are moral and right by society if you're skinny, and we should all be trying to be skinny. Like we're just moving to that. It's not a hot take. There's a lot of people talking about this. Let me actually find a definition of skinny talk, because that's been kind of like the key word that people use to describe this phenomenon. So skinny talk is a TikTok trend promoting extreme thinness and unhealthy weight loss. It's things like what I eat in a day videos that showcase really low calorie intakes, like unhealthily low. It's motivational content linking being thin to being happier, being successful, being more confident. It's like life hack content for eating as little as possible and getting as small as possible. Okay, that's what I'm referring to. And there's a resurgence of it. So I think the listener who wrote that complaint about feeling the pressure to get thin for her wedding comes from a very valid place of like, that's where we are as a society. Plus, even in that 5-year period, the glory days of when being a little thicker was not only maybe less of a problem, but also kind of celebrated, there was always this pressure around weddings and big milestones to lose weight. I mean, the number of vacations that I have dieted leading up to in my life, as recent as June, it's like kind of ridiculous to even admit, you know, that I consciously, cognitively am aware of this like pattern and habit that's bad for me of like dieting before a vacation, dieting before a special event, trying to lose weight. so that I can look good in pictures. And I mean, it ultimately comes from wanting to feel confident. But if I like analyze that desire to feel confident, it's really about how I look in pictures, how I look next to my thin friends, how they look at me and see me. It's really more based on like the vantage point of other people. I actually have a lot of confidence within myself. So I kind of like mask the desire to lose weight before one of these milestone events as like, I just want to feel really good at it. I just want to feel really confident and feel my best. But if I ask myself, well, why? Well, why would losing weight do that for you? Well, why this? It always comes down to how somebody else is seeing me. And that shouldn't have such a weight on my confidence, but it does, obviously. So anyway, I really relate to somebody who feels pressure to lose weight for their wedding because we're in this time in our culture where being thin is being celebrated. And because even without that, those of us who are not thin have struggled with this forever. Something I always think about when I think about this, like thinking about my wedding in the future, which I do. I'm going to admit that too. Lots of admissions here. I wonder that. Like the part of me that's in the habit of, I try to lose weight for big occasions is like, oh yeah, I bet when I am engaged, I'll like really lock in and lose a bunch of weight leading up to the wedding. I have those types of thoughts. And then on the other side of that, the other thoughts I have are like, why would I want to do that? Like, why don't I want to show up to something like that looking like myself, looking like the version of myself that my partner fell in love with? But a different part of me talking says, oh, it could be a good opportunity to do that. You kind of want to do that anyway. So maybe a occasion would give you the right kick in the ass that you need. In my experience, though, whenever I've tried to do that, I've failed. I said that I had a vacation in June that I dieted for. Yeah, I dieted for like 2 weeks. I was losing a little bit of weight. I was feeling really good about it. I was dieting in a very healthy way, mind you. I was not restricting. I was not on some really, really low calorie. I actually wasn't even counting calories or weighing myself. And I could just feel in my clothes that I was losing a little bit of weight and trimming down in a very healthy, appropriate way, which anybody should be entitled to do if they want to do it. But my motivation was very much like, I have this vacation and I want to look good in photos and look good next to my friends. And sure enough, I'm pretty sure I like got sick. Classic. I'm pretty sure I got sick for a few days. I ended up going on the vacation, in my body. It was fine. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I guess this is like a live processing moment of just when I read a message like that somebody is feeling the pressure to lose weight before their wedding. These are all the thoughts that run through my mind. Literally in an instant, everything I just spent 10 minutes talking about rushes through my mind. I mostly want to take this opportunity to give a hug to anybody who is struggling in the days of skinny talk. It's impossible not to scroll and see this content or see the influencers that you followed who were a little bit bigger just start to get smaller. And everybody's entitled to their own body journey. So it even feels gross to say that. Like, why are we noticing what each other's bodies look like so much? But we do. Because especially when it's online and it's influencers and it's people you follow for tips and motivation and to relate to them, that's ultimately the reason that you follow like anybody that you don't actually know. And so then to see them changing in the way that you related to them, it's like, oh, should I be doing that? It's so fucked up how we even got here, how we got to this point of a way that I could relate to somebody is their body. I mean, I do it. I relate to people because of their bodies. Caroline and I have given the advice. We did a whole episode. I think we just called it like the body image episode or the body image talk you've needed. I'm really proud of that episode. And there's always more that I think both of us could say on this topic. And we said in that very episode, like, follow people who have bodies that look like you. It'll just feel like safer to go on the internet. And that is true. But then what happens when all of them get on Ozempic? Maybe this is why I started reading. I want to be so clear. Like, this is not, first of all, I'm not thinking of anyone specific. Second of all, I'm not saying that anybody who wants to take care of their health and their body in the way that they want, whether it's for health or for physical reasons or for whatever, that is their prerogative. None of my business. But it is so, I think what I'm exploring in this whole ramble is like that I know cognitively that it's not my business and that I don't actually care what these people do because it doesn't actually affect my life. And yet it somehow is still my business and still affects my life. I know that there are people who can relate to what I'm saying. And I know that there are people who are going to find problems with what I'm saying. And that's fine because it's not really for anybody other than me. Like, this is something that's been sitting inside of myself for a while that I think I've needed to just sort through and express. There's no grand thesis statement. There's no clean summary. Like, there's not even really advice. I think I'm just relating. And maybe it's helpful for somebody who wrote in that they feel pressure to lose weight for their wedding. Maybe it's helpful to hear somebody who relates to you when it feels like all of the content online is telling you to do it. It's like, oh, hey girl, you want to lose weight for your wedding? Here's exactly my 10-step program to do it actually in 2 weeks. Like, we'll just do it in 2 weeks and it'll be really chill. And you just have to eat this cottage cheese and you have to live at the gym and we'll just do it. Here you go. You want to do it? Here you go. You don't need to lose weight for your wedding. If you're doing it because of this pressure, it's not a good reason to do it. You can do whatever you want, but don't do that. Is this anything? Okay, another complaint that I got says, I'm 19, which is just cute. Hi. I'm 19 and all my friends are in unfulfilling relationships except for me. I'm single. So what's your complaint? Because you, as the single one with a bunch of people surrounding you who are unfulfilled, you should feel great. You figured something out. Who has ever had a fulfilling relationship at 19? Okay, obviously I know they exist, but like, that's pretty rare in this day and age. So I'm not surprised by that either. I want to know what you're getting at. Like, are you saying it's annoying that my friends are all in relationships? Are you saying that it's annoying because those relationships are unfulfilling to them? Like, maybe if they were in good relationships, you wouldn't really have feelings about it. But because they're in unfulfilling relationships, that's what's annoying. Because you're like, really? You can't like go out with me and have fun? And meanwhile, like, Todd is showing you pictures of the fish he caught. Like, that would be annoying. I get it. Have they expressed that their relationships are unfulfilling, or are you just deeming them unfulfilling? It's hard when we do these question boxes and we only get like a phrase from you guys. I did get a DM from someone else. It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of a adjacent topic. So maybe I'll read it. We can have more fodder to talk about like friend groups and being single versus being in relationships and so on. So this person wrote, what would you do if you had a close friend who always hates every single guy their friends date? I have one friend who hates every guy that every single one of her girlfriends dates, and she always makes comments about them. Everything from he's not good enough for her, to he's ugly, to he's just using you for sex. This relationship won't last long. He drives a weird car, anything. She has told me and other friends that, quote, no man will ever be good enough for any of us. It gets tiring to constantly have my significant other, or even just a dude from Hinge that I'm chatting with, talked badly about. When I try to defend the guy, she automatically goes, if you feel like you need to defend him against my comments, he's the problem. Even if everyone else, including my family, likes him, she still hates every guy I date. What do I do? Girl. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. How many times can I talk about therapy? Clearly all the time. I'm constantly referencing things I've learned in therapy, the ways that therapy has made me better on this show, outside of this show. Therapy is the reason that I can communicate what I'm feeling and my needs in pretty much real time. It's the reason that I can manage stress. Right now, summer is summering. It's so chaotic. There's so many plans. Work has not let up. And sometimes I just feel like I'm spiraling, and therapy is the reason that I can ground myself and come back down to earth. So if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm such a proponent of therapy for everyone, for any need. And if you haven't tried BetterHelp, it's a great place to start. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp has served over 5 million people globally. They have a 4.9 out of 5-star rating in the App Store and over 1.7 million client reviews. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/notforeveryone. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/notforeveryone. That's a jealous friend. That screams jealousy to me without knowing anything about the friend. Did she say anything about the friend? Did she say if the friend is single or not? One friend who hates every guy that every single one of her girlfriends dates, and she always makes comments about them. Yeah, it may be safe to assume that she's single. Even if she's in a relationship, she could still be doing this. And I think in either situation, it screams jealousy to me. If you're single and can't find one nice thing to say about the people that your friends are exploring, that's like a weird friend red flag to me. If you're in a relationship and you can't find one nice thing to say, that's a weird red flag to me. It's just all jealousy. It doesn't mean she's jealous of the guys. Maybe she does think they're ugly and she does think they're not worthy. But I think she might be a little jealous that the attention is being had by people other than her. That's wild. If you feel like you need to defend him against my comments, he's the problem. I have no patience for just broad hatred of men. I find it incredibly boring. It is incredibly boring if that is your take. If your take is just men suck, men aren't good enough, it's not a nuanced take. I'm sorry, sis. It's not interesting. It's not new. It's not making me think. It's not challenging me. It's not pushing me. It's a blanket statement based on anecdotal experience and your own unique experience and the judgments and assumptions that you've put together in your mind based on what you've been exposed to. And it's boring. There's nothing there. Okay. Also, what if the goal isn't for them to be good enough? Why do we think of people like this? Why do we have to reduce people down to if they are enough, if they're good enough? As somebody who has an enoughness problem, like an insecurity, fear of abandonment, anxious attachment style, where I often get triggered to feel that I'm not enough. Can I challenge us to not make everything about being enough? This is what you do with somebody who has a blanket take. No man will ever be good enough. A blanket take, basically I hate all men. You have to beat them at their own game. Okay. Yeah. So maybe no man is going to be good enough ever. Okay. Let's assume that is true. That is fact. I'm still a straight woman who wants to be with a man. It's a very human thing to want love and want partnership and want companionship and want a family, whatever you want. And I happen to be attracted only to men. So what do you suggest? I guess what I should be looking for is maybe not enoughness. Maybe there's something else I should be looking for. He's ugly. Okay, maybe that's really not my priority, that you find him attractive, first of all. Ugly isn't a blanket thing. There's no person who's just ugly to every person on the planet, period. So, okay, cool. You don't think he's attractive. I might, but even if he was blanket statement ugly, okay, maybe that's not what I'm looking for. Keep going. He's just using you for sex. This relationship won't last long. Why? Because we had sex? Why? Because I consensually decided to have sex with him on the first date? Are you judging me for having sex early? Weird of you. He drives a weird car. Girl, nobody cares about cars. Especially, what are you talking about? Nobody cares about cars. That is the weirdest take ever. I've never cared about a car. I have a car. I care that it exists. I don't want it to like combust because I bought it. But like, besides that, why are we judging people based on their cars? You're not even saying like it's a cheap car or like it's a Tesla and we don't like Elon Musk. You're saying it's just a weird car. What are you talking about? She's looking for anything she can get her hands on to make it that all men suck. Yes, it is very exhausting to be around somebody like this. I would probably distance myself from this person. I would have probably already done that. I do not have time for people who are always negative. And I think you can chalk it up to that. This is not just a friend who's her one thing is that she judges the guys we date, but besides that, she's a freaking delight. I would find that very hard to believe. I think this is probably a negative person who sucks the life out of anything that's going on. And those are the type of people that I don't have time for, that I stop being friends with, whether I have to talk to them about it or fade away. You know, it was a case by case scenario. But at the end of the day, that's not somebody who's a friend that I want to have. It's a person who makes broad judgments about whole groups of people. It's a person who doesn't seem to support me in my decision making and choices. It's a person who only has negative things to say about my decision making and choices. It's a person who makes me feel judged, who makes me feel unsafe to open up to her, who makes me feel that no matter what I say, she's going to find something wrong with it. We could be talking about anything. It doesn't need to be about men. That's not a friend. You might say, I'm really close with her. She's been my longtime friend. I can't just like abandon her. I don't want to lose the friendship. You might have redeeming qualities that you know about this person that I don't. If she is a close friend truly and somebody that you're not willing to let go of for, to me, what is a pretty big red flag, then I hope that it's somebody that you could maybe talk to about this. I would suggest not making it about the guys you date, because we already know that when the conversation is about the guys you date, this is her take. This is how she responds. You're not really going to get anything new there. And I think you need to separate the friendship problem from this topic for her to be at all open to it. Even if it is only about this, I think you can still say it in a way that's more general, like, hey, I've been feeling that you are negative about the things I share with you about my personal life and the decisions that I'm making. And it has put a damper on our relationship and made me feel, if this is right, but I imagine it is, like, it's made me feel less inclined to share things with you. It's made me feel judged. It's made me feel that our friendship isn't what I thought it was or isn't what I would want it to be. I don't think that I interact with you in this same way, but if there's something I've done to incite this type of negativity from you, then I would like to understand it, because ultimately I feel that it's driving a wedge between us and I don't want that. And I didn't know what to do other than talk to you about it. I didn't want to just disappear. I care about you. I care about our friendship. You've been somebody who's been in my life for a long time. And that's why it's important to me to feel safe with you and feel like I can talk to you about things. But it's just recently feeling like I can't. It's feeling like you're going to find something negative to say and twist my words. And that's not something I'm willing to just, lay down and take. I think that's just how you have to frame it if you are to talk to her about it. For me, I would probably just fade away from this person. But if this is someone that you're like, she's like a sister to me, I can't just do that, then I think that's how you approach it. I think you do need to talk to her about it. And I think that you can, level it up and not make it about the boy problems. Because I do think that's coming from a place of jealousy. And there are some younger women, girls figuring out how to be friends with girls, who I find can be very weird about boy stuff. There's a spectrum. Like, some people are boy crazy, and that's kind of annoying to be around. And then on the other side of the spectrum are the boy haters, and that's kind of annoying to be around. And most of us are somewhere in the middle. And there's a healthy amount of hating on boys that is fun, at brunch over some mimosas, and there's a healthy amount of being obsessed with boys that's fun at brunch over Bloody Marys. But it feels like this is an extreme. This person is an extreme. And with those people who are on extreme ends of a spectrum like that, it can be really helpful to like actually come off of the spectrum altogether. Like, we're actually not talking about boys, because they have an extreme perspective on boys, and they're going to take it there no matter what. Because if what I'm guessing is true, that she's kind of jealous, whether it's jealous because of where she is in her own dating life, or it's jealous because she doesn't want to lose her friends to some dude named Todd, like, somebody in that position wants their friends. So make it about that. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't think I like her. Oh my gosh, as I was talking about that one, as I was talking about that last DM, I got a submission in my question box on Instagram that says, finally took 2 weeks of vacation and got ill immediately. You're my queen. The person that wrote that in, you and me both. Yes. I don't have anything helpful to say, but yes. Here's another friendship what to do. I think it's actually perfect off the tail end of the one we just did. Hi there, I'm a longtime listener and in desperate need of advice. I have struggled to make friends ever since I went to high school. Never had a friend group in which I was totally valued or wanted. And then she gives an example of like, people always say they were, quote, forgetting to invite her places, which was confirmation that it wasn't all in her head. Every time I go into a new environment, switching schools, classes, going to uni, I'm in my first year, I have the same hope that this time will be different, that I will meet good people I mesh with well, and I will finally be accepted, only for it to die at the 3 to 6 month mark. Then I realize I'm suddenly anxious with those people and that no one really enjoys my company, leaving me eating my lunch in the bathroom or being very quiet in social settings, which isn't like me. I have to admit that I am quite picky with who I am friends with because I don't tolerate things I feel strongly against, and I am vocal about that. I don't feel like I'm an extremist, though. A guy was literally joking about manhandling his smaller female friend, and I spoke up. So I guess my question is, what do I do? Compromising on my values seems wrong, but am I being unreasonable? Should I just nod along and laugh with everyone else? I can't help but feel like the only reason I'm experiencing this over and over again in so many friend groups is because I'm not pretty enough to be friends with. So is it me, or is this anxious, everyone hates me feeling normal? All the best to the kooks. My sweet kook. I have so much empathy for this person who's just wanting to find friends who understand and accept her and who stick it out with her. And I also am kind of like, I don't know, manhandling could just be a joke. What do I want to say? I think there's more information needed. Like, did something happen? You say that it's a pattern that's repeated where after 3 to 6 months, these friendships fade. Does something usually happen? Like, did you find that this last friendship faded after that manhandling comment, for example? Do you feel like there's a cause and effect? Or is there not like a defining moment where you feel like, yeah, that was the last time things were good, and a drop off? And if there's some sort of pattern between those moments, then you might be able to do some self-reflection about, is it something that you're doing? Is it a way that you're showing up? You know, something much simpler could be like, are you waiting for them to initiate all the hangs, or are you doing your part? I imagine somebody who's feeling insecure, who's not had a lot of good friendships, might maybe not be the one to reach out with new friends and just wait to get invited to stuff, which is very understandable if you're feeling like, I'm new to this group and I'm a little shyer, insecure, I don't think I'm pretty enough, which is heartbreaking, by the way, that you think it would have anything to do with your looks, because I can guarantee that it doesn't. If it had to do with your looks, I don't know if this is helpful, but I think it's true. They wouldn't have been friends with you from day one. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a psychology thing of people are generally friends with and spend time with people who they find attractive. And so I don't think you would have even gotten 3 to 6 months in if it had something to do with your looks. These people were drawn to you from the beginning. There was some reason that you started to become friends. And then I have to think that there's some reason that you stopped being as close and that this pattern keeps repeating. But you've basically given me 2 pieces of input. One of them is this thing of people forgetting to invite you places. And the other one is the thing about you being strong to your values and speaking up when you don't tolerate things. Those are the 2 examples. So I do feel like my point about inviting them maybe could have some merit. That's just a suggestion. You said nothing about that. I'm thinking out loud. I don't know. I'm not trying to excuse that. I know the pain of like not getting invited places, especially in high school, I think is what you said that was when that was happening. The thing you did talk about is like, should I compromise on my values? Compromising on my values seems wrong, but am I being unreasonable? I don't think you're asking actually, okay, I took some time away to really think about this. I don't think you're actually asking, should I compromise on my values? You don't need to change your values, period. No friendship, no person should ever require that of you. You only change those if you want to change those. So I don't think you need to compromise on your values. I do think you need to be okay with the fact that your friends won't share all of your values. Like 10 out of 10 match, hard to find. And if you want a higher value match, like an 8 out of 10 value match compared with a 5 out of 10 value match, it's going to take a lot more time to find, I think. You said that you're in your first year of college. I made my best friends for life in kind of the middle of college. I have a couple of friends who are still very, very close friends, some of my best friends for life who I met the first year. Besides that, it all came later. And I didn't get a sense from year 1 of knowing them, let alone month 3 to 6 of knowing them, like if our values were aligned or anything. I just knew I liked talking to them. I liked hanging out with them. We had similar senses of humor. Sometimes things would land, sometimes they wouldn't. And I think if you're getting the like, everyone hates me feeling, yes, it's normal, especially if you struggle with anxiety, struggle with insecurity. I think maybe it's a cue that like, this isn't the right friend group for you. You said you end up feeling anxious and no one really enjoys your company. And so you go eat in the bathroom, or you're quiet in social settings and you're not acting like yourself. That's actually what you need to listen to. I've been spending the last however many minutes trying to analyze like what's going wrong. And I think none of that actually matters. Like what's wrong is that you're not comfortable with these people. And that, while hard, while isolating, while lonely, is all you need to know to say, okay, on to the next. Like, they're not for me. You're not for everyone, girly. That's really the answer here. The answer is you don't need to compromise on anything. You're compromising already on feeling good around these people, feeling comfortable around these people, feeling accepted around these people. You aren't feeling those things. And those are things you should feel in a friendship. So to me, that's all that matters. Don't compromise on your values, because those should be your values. Your values should be, I want to be able to stand up against a joke I don't like and express my opinion about something and share the things that I find important in this world and have my friends leave space for it. I don't think it's about finding friends who don't make that type of joke or who have the exact same opinion as you. And it's just going to take some time to find the people who you're comfortable with and who don't make you question those things. And when you do, this will have been a great experience to go through, because you've done a lot of the work already on understanding what your values are with friends, and you have time to just really get to know yourself and feel comfortable with yourself. Being somebody who's endured eating their lunch alone in the bathroom, Katie Heron style, by the way, okay, Mean Girls. I fear that the younger generation has not seen Mean Girls. And no, I'm not talking about the recent musical with Renee Rapp. I'm talking about the original movie, which will hold up forever. Watch Mean Girls just because it's fun. It'll make you happy. That's really the only tip there, is just it'll feel good. But if you're sitting in the bathroom eating your lunch alone, like, you're going through shit And shit is always where you come out the other side better. That's the whole premise of my podcast, Peaking, which I've not given adequate shout outs to on Not For Everyone, but I brought back my old podcast, Peaking. You can find it everywhere you find Not For Everyone other than YouTube, just audio for now. But Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those places, just search Peaking and it's a purple and green logo. The whole premise of that podcast is it's about low moments in life that are opportunities to grow. It's about when we are struggling in a relationship, struggling with friends, feeling lonely, feeling hurt, feeling insecure, feeling like we're not pretty enough, feeling like we're not enough, period. And we're misunderstood. We're not feeling accepted and embraced. We're not feeling a sense of belonging. And we have to really get okay with ourselves. And we have to explore what of this is me? What of this is other people? How can I just exist on my own and feel okay in the meantime? How can I make my life more fulfilling and happy for me, even without friends, even without a relationship? And I think that's the work that you're faced with right now. And I feel like you're going to come out the other side a person who would never question if she's pretty enough for friends. And it's at that point that you're ready for the real friends who are going to understand you and accept you for who you are. And I know that's not a satisfying answer. I tried to figure out what was going on with this friend group and I couldn't. Really, what's going on is that they're not for you and you're not for them. And I don't know when the group that's for you is going to come. But I do know that you're getting to know yourself in ways that probably a lot of these other people are not. And you're already strong in your values and strong in who you are. And as long as you understand that you're not going to find others who are exactly aligned with you in those ways, but you also understand that that's you and you don't need to compromise it, that's what you need to find the friendships that you're wanting. And you're going to find them because you've already done that work and that processing and you've been through this shit. Those are the people that get the real good stuff in the end. The people who have to go through the shit. That's the concept of peaking. I really believe it. And I'm kind of sorry that I didn't start my answer to your what to do in that way. But I also think something I find with myself is that when I'm having these intrusive thoughts or these really unproductive thoughts or these really insecure, anxious thoughts, something as, I'm sorry to say to you, but extreme as I feel like I'm not pretty enough for this friend group and I feel like that's why they're not being friends with me. That is a pretty extreme, it's kind of an irrational thought. And actually, when I'm having that type of irrational thinking and I'm in that type of place where that's just what's coming to me and that's what I'm believing is true, it's actually not very helpful for someone to come in right away and say, no, you're just going through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff. That doesn't mean shit when I feel like I'm not pretty enough to be friends with these people. Give me something real. Figure this out with me. And so I hope you can see the figuring out that I did earlier as that. I don't like it when I'm having irrational thoughts and somebody invalidates me, basically. So I don't want to validate, no, the friend thing has nothing to do with what you look like. That is fact. But I also don't want to invalidate that you're in a really insecure place right now and that you're feeling that way and that you're having those types of thoughts. So let's break them down. And I think that's what I did at the beginning is I really tried to level with you and be okay, this is where we're at. And this is how she's feeling. And this one comment happened about manhandling. And what could that have possibly meant? I really, really was trying to get on the level that you're on and be no, let's fucking figure this out. If I was your friend, that's what I would do. And then I'd rise above and say, JK girl, you're peaking. Okay. You can't handle the big, fluffy, honestly, truths of just this situation is preparing you for something better until you've actually really dug into the situation and exhausted all of the possible answers and options and been damn, I still can't figure it out. Okay, it must be something different. And that's when you're able to level up and say, here's the higher the higher ground to come to.
Okay, cool. I made myself feel better for possibly validating your insecurities and your irrational thinking for a brief moment there. It was worth it. We got here.
Okay, I just want to really quickly finish the episode with some final complaints that I got in this question box. Anything that stands out to me. A lot of people complaining about how it's too hot to be outside and it's too hot to be inside. And I do agree. I think I said earlier, my AC was broken. I do agree. Go to the planetarium. Okay. A few about people's assumptions. Somebody said, people's assumptions. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm discovering people in my life don't know me at all. And then somebody else said, friends assuming lack of response over text equals what I think about them and our friendship. Ugh, that really does annoy me. Like, I'm just busy. Not everything's about you. Assumptions suck. Ryan and I have this thing. So we watch, obviously you guys know, we watch all the different dating shows. We watch The Bachelor sometimes. Like, it's really not good, but it's content. So we'll like put it on in the background. And one of the first seasons of The Bachelor that we watched was with Clayton, which was a very highly talked about season, because he was the one that like slept with multiple girls during the overnights and told multiple girls he loved them, and it was just really messy. And then he decided he actually wanted the girl who he had already sent home after having sex with and telling two other girls that he loved them. It was a lot, but that is where we got Gabby Windy from. So thank you, Clayton, for that. But one of the things that happened in the fallout of Clayton's mess from his season of The Bachelor is he had to do an apology tour, right? Like, they did a reunion show and he had to go on and say what he learned from his mistakes. And I'm sure he appeared on some podcasts and also gave his apologies and said how he fucked up and said what he's learned. And his thing that he kept repeating was just that there were so many assumptions being made. And he's learned not to make assumptions anymore. And it was very vague and it like really didn't make sense for the situation. But Ryan and I quote that to this day. Really just me. Ryan doesn't really like that I do it, but it doesn't matter because I think it's hilarious. Anytime we talk about assumptions, like if we're having a conflict and somebody feels like the other person made an unfair assumption about what was going on or what was being felt or what was being said, I'll be like, Ryan, and Clayton told us not to make assumptions. And I'll just reference Clayton. Sometimes I'll pull up a picture on my phone of him. I'll just real fast during our conflict pick up my phone and Google Clayton Eckert or whatever, which it's not a good look to pick up your phone during a conflict with your partner, but like the payoff is worth it. And he's like, why are you on your phone right now? Like, we're having a serious conversation. And I'm like, trust me, it'll be worth it. And I just pull up a picture of this man and Ryan knows when I do that. It's because we're making assumptions and we shouldn't be. And that's what Clayton taught us. That is such a deep cut reference, but I don't think you need to know anything about that season of The Bachelor to laugh at what I just said. I pull up a picture of a random white man's face during conflicts with my boyfriend,
and it helps.
I recommend it. Anyway, so yeah, agree with those complaints. Assumptions, not good. Under boob sweat, somebody said. Agree. My favorite brand, not sponsored, for boob care is Mega Babe. I like their deodorant. They have a chafing stick that is very helpful in the summertime for your thighs, but also for under your boobs if you get like rubbing and irritation there. And they also have this spray that you can spray on your chest and your boobs if you get like acne and irritation from sweat. Great brand. Great brand. Somebody just wrote that their complaint is not being in water. And I can only imagine that this means it's a Monday, it's a work day, and they wish they were in a pool. Oh my gosh, the same person wrote, people hating on cold showers when they feel so good. Why are you really thinking about being in water right now, girl? I do like a cold shower from time to time, but like, what's going on with you? Okay. Laboo-boos. This person wrote, Laboo-boos. Sorry, Jess. Okay, listen up. This is where I'll leave you. There's this trend right now, a Gen Z fad that's going on, which is to have these little stuffed animals called Laboo-boos and like dress them up and bring them out with you, hook them on your purse. It's really honestly dumb. And it's also really funny. Like, it reminds me of when I was in the second grade and all of us would collect Beanie Babies and we would bring a different Beanie Baby to school every day. I wonder if Caroline remembers this. We would bring a different Beanie Baby to school every day and like put them on the front of our desk, and everybody, like all the cool kids, would have a Beanie Baby sitting on the front of their desk, like learning with them or some shit. I don't know why, but that's something we did. And I feel like the Labubu's are some form of that, although they are popular amongst people in their like 20s, not second graders. But there's something funny about them. They look really stupid. Anyway, my mom was here visiting a couple weeks ago. We had a really fun time. And we were walking through West Loop, which is a very popular neighborhood in Chicago. And I saw a Labubu just face down on the street, on the asphalt as we were crossing the street. And I looked down and I was like, wait, it's a Labubu. And I picked it up and I was like, Mom, I can't explain why, but I do need to pick up this stuffed animal from the street and you just need to allow for that. And she was disturbed that her 34-year-old daughter was picking up a stuffed animal off the street, but she understands that I'm a woman with autonomy. And so I did it. And I kept that Labubu and I made her mine. The funny thing about her is that she was already in an outfit that the previous owner who lost her had put her in. And it is such a like street outfit. I don't even know how to describe it, but if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put a picture of her up. So yes, Labubus are stupid and I would never buy one and spend my money on that. However, I do have one because I found her on the street and she's the most street girl ever. And I named her Kylie because she kind of looks like a Kylie, but it's not spelled how Kylie Jenner is spelled. It's spelled Kiley because my sister's name is Caitlin with a K, and my brother, her dog, I refer to him as my brother, his name is Riley, Riley, and I combined them and it's Kylie, and that's my Labubu. So in conclusion, thank you for listening to this episode. I think we learned a few things. I think we learned that I had my birthday and I turned 34 and I took time off and I read a book and I got a Labubu on the street and I got sick and I took a nap at the planetarium and there's AC there. And I think that friends are really hard to have. And if they're negative, I don't want them. And if they don't share my values, then I can be flexible about it to an extent. And that's the end of this solo episode with me, Jess DeBakey, your lover. Follow me on Instagram at JZDeBakey. Check out my other podcast, Peaking. You can follow that at Peaking Podcast too. You already follow this podcast, but send it to your friends. Okay. Kisses.
Editor's note: 2 days after the recording of this episode and 1 day before it went live, a Labubu was purchased with my own money. It's shaped like a shrimp, guys.